So how is Beijing going to take this bill if signed into law by President Trump?
Yeah, I think this is really unexpected, and we were thinking that the Senate may hold it for a while, but I think that if really signed into law, that will really impact greatly the relations.
So of course you advise the cabinet in China. Have you heard of any potential retaliatory measures that could come?
No, I think this is coming up, but we can see from the media and also from the Chinese reactions in general that is they take this very seriously. The Minister of Foreign spokesperson, and National Parliament, the CCPCC, and almost every organization, including the office in Hong Kong, have all issued statements. Have a very strong. I never see such a comprehensive, strong.
But statements are different from action, right?
What's action?
From action. We haven't really seen strong action coming from Beijing despite all of the trade measures taken by the U.S.
Yeah, I think, because this was just happening a day, but the bill hasn't been signed into yet. So we'll see what's going to happen. But I think this can probably dampen the hope that we're reaching a deal, and also really, actually make people really very unhappy about that. I think particularly in China.
Is it possible for policymakers to be pragmatic, right, to sort of ring fence the geopolitical issues and still forge ahead for a win-win solution, if you will, on trade? Or is this too sensitive when it comes to sovereignty issues for China?
I think, it's really great that if we can make this deal. I mean, I'm sure President Trump wants to make this deal too. I mean, he needs the deal to go into the election. I mean, that's one of his campaign promise. He probably needs to do that. But I think for China, of course, we want stability and good relation with the U.S. as well. So, but then by having such a bill passed that raised all the uncertainty and actually dampened the hope, I really think this is not good for currently happening. Also, the issue, as the Chinese foreign spokesman said, that it's an internal issue that the foreign government actually is actually too much pressure. And I see that Hong Kong is already in chaos, and also the public order was greatly disturbed, and of course also the livelihood and also Hong Kong economy is negatively.
Yeah. You've got recessionary signals and retail sales looking terribly as well. But the biggest problem, I think, with Hong Kong is that there doesn't seem to be a natural way to end this. The standoff has gone for about 25 weeks now consecutively. What do you think Beijing will do? When do they step in? Because it doesn't look like Carrie Lam is adding anything new to the conversation.
Well, I think now if the demonstration is retreat back to the campus, and then also it's getting less, of course, than before. It's just the violence still going on. So I think we have to stop violence first, and then then let's have a dialogue, let's have a talk. So, but I think most important is the restored order. So that's for the for Hong Kong and for the world and for China too, of course.
In the meantime, what does it mean for the Chinese economy? Because we continue to see the trade tensions, the Hong Kong tensions.
Yeah.
Where is China headed?
Well, I think that China is probably doing relatively well. I mean, after about 18...
Well, they had to cut lending rates again and again.
Yeah.
Because they're not doing as well as people might think.
Not as probably as people would like to hope, but it's not as bad people thought as well. And you see, China actually for the last almost 19 months now, we're getting into this trade war. Chinese economy still keep about around 6%, and
which isn't horrible, comparatively.
But it's still adding a GDP of Australia to every year to the world. So
do you believe the 6% number, though?
No, I think it's relatively okay, because in China you don't feel that there's any big impact. I mean, except the pork price has gone up due to the swine flu. You don't really feel that. But also, on the other hand, you see the China and the economy. They are making the 14th five-year plan now. I mean, they're trying to do that, and also the efficiency of the system, because you have 1 billion smartphone users. Everybody have a small ERP, highly effective. There's 170 million talents. Every year, there's 10 million graduates coming into the marketplace. And so you have the longest high-speed railway. The length of that is equal to the next 10 countries combined.
What about the deeper? I mean, Beijing can keep rolling over growth at a moderately high level.
Yeah.
Right? What about the deeper structural reform issues? It just keeps getting pushed down the track. And is the window closing for them to be able to make some of these, painful reforms?
No, I don't think so. As a matter of fact, this month they just last month in October they just circulated foreign investment law, implementation regulations. So that law is actually being read by ANCHAM, by all the multinationals, and then they take feedback. So by January 1st, that new law will come up. And then that new law basically address a lot of structural issues. The no forced technology transfer, IPR will be strictly protected, and all the foreign companies should be treated equal. So you see that actually is already taking a lot of measures to address structural issues.
When it comes to those strategies, long-term strategies for China, you're the author of China Goes Global, of course. One of those strategies was growing their businesses by making acquisitions abroad. Now, that strategy has changed in the last few years, right? So how do these businesses grow now?
Well, the business grow actually, you have this, the Belt and Road actually is in the making. And the Belt and Road, they have signed MOU with 130 countries, 30 international organizations. And also the infrastructure revolution. I mean, infrastructure is taking off in many countries. President Xi was just in the port of Greece. I mean, you see that the port of Greece is of Athens is raised from when China invested before, it was 100-some position to the 30th position in the world now. So you can see the infrastructure. There's a lot of
but the criticism of that is that China's just exporting its debt model to other emerging nations.
Not really. You see, Rodians Group, a very well-known groups in the U.S., have done a study of all the loans of China dispersed land in the past 10 years. Out of that, it's only very few. I mean, most of them has been repaid, a lot of them be extended, a lot of them renegotiated, a lot of them forgiven. But the real debt problem is only a minor few cases. So I think it was, the good news never travel. I mean, we always hear bad news about that.
So how does the Belt and Road Initiative then play into the broader strategy of China? And also, how does that play into the dynamic of Made in China 2025, given that we are seeing now this trade war spread into a tech war?
Yeah. No, I mean, that's the danger. I mean, we have a trade war going to the tech war, cyber war, and then currency war, maybe talent war. That's going to really devastate. I don't think the world needs to divide into two camps. We don't need an economic NATO, economic Warsaw, I mean, alliance. But we see that.
But are we already there, though?
No, we haven't been there yet. But I think that the trend is very bad. I hope we're not. So I think this phase one will stop the downward spiral, and then we really uplifting the confidence. Of course, the stock market has been really fluctuated for the last number of years because of this trade uncertainty. But I think Belt and Road will be a new initiative on a global development plan. No country yet offers such a gigantic global development plan. So we hope that U.S. and all the Western countries are participating, and that we can make the world new impetus to stimulate growth.
So whether or not we get phase one is still up for contention, right? But this is more difficult than just buying more agricultural goods. This is more difficult than, even coming to an agreement on tech. This is, the sort of greatest competitive strategic competition of our time, I think. Is there an answer to that? Can the US and China really coexist productively together?
Absolutely, I think they have to, because, the World Bank just released a report about global value chain. I mean that, in the 80s and the 70s, 70-80% of the product was totally produced in one country and then exported to the other country. Nowadays, 70-80% of the product was produced by many countries together, and then they export to another country. So, in other words, all the Chinese export to the United States, half of that was made by the U.S. company. So if you really, we're stuck in this trade war, all the U.S. companies will be greatly affected, and then they may be out of business in a few years' time. So President Trump would not have the money repatriated back to stimulate the U.S. economy as they are doing now, because the boom we see in the U.S. is all the multinationals are paying money back now, and then because of the money they made in China and overseas. So if they continue like that, then there will be
the danger.
The down the road, there will be no more money to send back.
Of decoupling.
And then that's right. Yeah, very dangerous.